So good morning, and we're all happy to see you today. My name is Wiway Bugnosen of ISAAA Incorporated, and I will be your moderator for today. This morning's activity is the second webinar of a series co-organized by ISAAA Incorporated and the Biotech Program Office of the Department of Agriculture in preparation for the celebration of the National Biotech Week this month. The webinar series aims to inform the general public and the journalists present today about the recent developments on GM crops that are commercialized and nearing commercialization in the Philippines. The event will also encourage the participants to engage in discussions related to biotech crops in the country and build up the involvement of media in biotech reporting in preparation for the NBW. So before we proceed, let us first go through our house rules. Please be informed that all the participants' microphones will remain on mute during the presentations. All announcements from the organizers will be made by the moderator and/or posted in the chat box. You may post your questions using the Q&A function throughout the webinar. The questions will be recognized and addressed later during the open forum. Lastly, please accomplish the online post-webinar evaluation form to receive your certificate of appearance. The link to the evaluation form will be posted in the chat box later. And now for our opening remarks, I would like to introduce Dr. Claro Mingala, the Director of the DA-Biotech Program Office. Dr. Mingala was the former Center Chief of the Livestock Biotech Center at the Philippine Carabao Center. He is also the chair of the Technical Working Group for the drafting of the Joint Department Circular for Genetically Modified Animals and Animal Products Rules and Regulations. We are expected for this to be signed within the year. His areas of expertise include biotechnology research in livestock genetics and breeding, health, nutrition, and product development. Let us all welcome Dr. Claro Mingala.
Hello, good morning to everyone. Welcome again to the second part of this Know the Science webinar series, spearheaded, of course, by ISAAA in collaboration with the Department of Agriculture Biotechnology Program Office and the SEARCA. Thank you very much for returning and participating again to this second part of this webinar series. You know, the Philippines is seen as a leader in agricultural biotechnology, having been the first in Asia to approve the propagation of BT corn, in particular, in 2003. The establishment of the National Biosafety Framework pursuant to Executive Order number 514, series of 2006, strengthened the foundation for the promotion and the safe and responsible use of modern biotechnology, its product, and in compliance with the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety. With the improved regulatory process of GM crops, Philippines became the first country to approve golden rice for planting in July 21, 2021. And this has been discussed to us during the first part of our webinar series. Technology rollout has since commenced in selected regions of the country. Moreover, on October 18, 2022, the locally developed BT eggplant also received biosafety approval for commercial propagation. Today, one of our speakers will be informing us or updating us regarding the BT cotton rather, which is now ongoing evaluation by our Biosafety Committee. Also, one of the speakers will also give us some insights on the regulatory process, the policies that will be that are implementing with regards to the regulations of the biotechnology product, especially in crops. So today's webinar is all about research and development of Pinoy biotech products, which is very important to us, especially as an alternative products for us Filipinos with regards to the sustainable food sources that would be given to our countrymen. Ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you very much for participating, and we hope that we will learn a lot from this webinar part 2. Thank you, and mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Thank you very much for your meaningful message, Dr. Mingala. Now for the first presentation this morning, it is about the PT cotton. I am pleased to welcome Dr. Edison Rinien of the Philippine Fiber Industry Development Authority, and he is also the project of the BT Cotton Project. He is the Director 2 of the PhilFIDA Regional Office for Region 1 and the National Coordinator of the Cotton Development Project. Dr. Rinien has dedicated his career to cotton research since 1979 when PhilFIDA was still the Cotton Research Development Institute and then the Cotton Development Administration. He obtained his PhD in plant breeding and statistics and his MS degree in agronomy and soil science from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Please welcome Dr. Edison Rinien. So we were still having some technical difficulties with from Dr. Rinian's end. If Dr. Manalo will not mind, Sir Abe, is it all right if you go ahead first with your presentation? Okay, sir. So let me just introduce Dr. Manalo first. Everyone, let us all welcome Dr. Abraham J. Manalo. He is the Assistant Professor at the National College of Public Administration and Governance at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. He is a policy specialist with work on biotechnology and biosafety regulation. He obtained his doctorate in public administration from UP Diliman, where he also took his master's in statistics and public administration, major in public policy. Dr. Manalo is currently an assistant professor at the National. He is the executive secretary of the Biotechnology Coalition of the Philippines. It is a nonprofit organization working for the safe and responsible use of modern biotechnology. So let us all listen to Dr. Abraham Manalo as he presents the latest updates on Pinoy biotech products. Sir Abe?
Thank you, Wiwai. I'm trying to share my screen. Sabi, I cannot share the screen. Ito na. Pwede na pala.
Ayan. Thank you, sir.
Let me share my screen now. So magandang umaga sa ating lahat, mga kasama. I'm very happy na magkakasama ho tayo kahit sa online. And this is in preparatory celebration for the NBW 2022. At nabanggit siguro na before na itong NBW 2022 ang nag-chair ay ang Department of Trade and Industry. So kakaiba ho ito sapagkat ang focus ay commercialization and business investments on biotech products. Kaya napapanood itong ginawa ng ISAAA, ng DA-Biotech Program Office, tsaka ng SEARCA on the Pinoy biotech products. At maraming salamat to sa invitasyon yung lahat. Lalo na kay Tin na napakahusay yung mangulit ng presentation. So maraming salamat to sa lahat. So this morning, supposedly this presentation is after the presentation of Dr. Rinien kay Kuya Eda. But I'll start first. So pag-uusapan natin ay Pinoy biotech products. Ano yung mga meron na tayo ngayon at ano yung nakikita natin sa kinabukasan. At hindi ko na uulitin ho sapagkat alam natin na ang pinakasikat dito sa ngayon, although developed to by multinational corporations, pero sinusubukan itong i-develop din ng ating mga local developers ay ang GM corn. At napakataas ng adoption ng GM corn. At ito ay magandang pagpapaliwanag na ibigay sa atin ni Dr. Gabi Romero. And then pinaliwanag na rin ni Ronan, ni Dr. Zagado. Another very important, this time is really a Pinoy biotech product, ang golden rice. It's decades in the making. And finally, it's now available for commercial planting by our farmers. At tulad ng paliwanag ni Ronan last time, it's currently being deployed doon sa mga lugar na mahalaga na sila unang makatikim at maginhawaan ng nutritional value na dulot ng golden rice. Ito nga hong pangatlo na papaliwanag mamaya ni Kuya Ed, ni Dr. Rinien, ay ang ating pinananabikan din na BT cotton. So, kapanapanabik itong ating papakinggan mamaya kay Dr. Rinien. And after these three very important Pinoy biotech products, let me now go to another important product, which is BT eggplant. Mga kasama, again, itong ating BT eggplant is, we're very happy and na it has just been commercialized. Sabi nga kanina ni Doc Bong, di ba? So ang BPI, saludo sa kanila because of their science-based, although very strict regulatory requirements, science-based pa rin ang umira dito, kaya ang ating BT eggplant ngayon ay commercial na. So what is BT eggplant? Ito ay isang uri ng talong na may resistensya o panlaban sa fruit and shoot borer. At ginagamitan nito ng genetic modification. At meron ho siyang dalawang gene na ginamit, isa from ordinary soil bacterium at isa ay sa E. coli. At very specific ko yung kanyang mode of action, yung kanyang panlaban sa peste, very specific. At ito ay ligtas sa tao at sa mga iba pang organismo na hindi target ng protina na ito. At makikita niyo po sa pictures, this is a slide I borrowed from the original project proponent, si Dr. Desautea. Itong sa taas ay ang non-BT. Kita niyo naman kung gaano kadumi ang non-BT. Lalo-lalo na kung hindi ito nilalagyan ng saksakang pestisidyo. Pero ang BT eggplant, napakalinis. Wala itong pesticidyong ginamit, pero napakalinis. Why did the BT eggplant team based at UP Los Baños develop BT eggplant? Because in the traditional way of producing eggplant, there is significant yield loss due to insect damage. Umabot to mga kasama up to 70% ang yield loss because of pesticidal damage. Tapos, doon naman sa iba, there is excessive pesticide use. At may laki-laki ng potential nito na makasama hindi lamang sa kapaligiran, kundi sa ating mga magsasaka na nagtatanim ng talong. Kasama na rin dito ay ang higher production cost due to sa insecticides at labor cost. Dahil sa several times na pag-a-apply ng pestisidyo, ng insecticides. And kaya nga, ang pinakadahilan bakit kailangan nating mag-develop ng BT eggplant is that the conventional varieties has no known effective resistance against the fruit and shoot borer. So, nabanggit ko kanina, ang damage is umaabot to 70 and even 80% yield loss. Kita niyo naman kung gaano sira ang eggplant crop. Hindi lamang po sa kanilang fruit, hindi lamang sa talong mismo, pati sa flower, sa shoot at sa stem. At ito yung peste. Yung kanyang uod, ito yung pinaka-destructive, yung kanyang larva. So ito yung tinatarget ng BT eggplant, yung protina na may nakakalason lamang dito sa fruit and shoot borer. So ano yung mga ganansya o pakinabang natin mga magsasaka when they would plant BT eggplant? And now it's very soon better income. So ayon sa pag-aaral, umaabot ho ng gross annual income can reach 120 to 270,000 pesos per hectare. Kaya nga yung mga ibang kausap natin mga farmers, gustong-gusto na ho ito. Matagal na nilang iniintay. At finally, yan dyan na. Reduce pesticide use. Diba? Does not need this much pesticide use. At pag-aaral ho ay 19.5% lower reduction ng environmental footprint nitong paggamit ng insecticide at pesticide. And kaakibat itong lahat ay yung higher production yield. Diba? Sabi nga natin mga kasama, high resistance laban sa kanyang peste. Therefore, it's effective from 99% to 100% sa shoot damage yun sa kanyang mga stalks, 98 to 100% effective against damage sa kanyang fruit, sa mismong talong, and 96 to 99% reduced larval infestation. Napaka-effective ho nitong BT talong na dinevelop ng UP Los Baños. At tulad ng nabanggit kanina, we're very happy mga kasama na this has been approved. So ito ho ay galing halaw sa website ng Bureau of Plant Industry. At makikita natin that this was approved on October 18 at ito yung kanyang biosafety permit. Diba? Biosafety permit, this is the first biosafety permit for commercial propagation. Ibig sabihin ng commercial propagation, pwede na itong itanim at a commercial scale ng ating mga magsasaka. Ito yung first permit for commercial propagation issued under the revised Joint Department Circular No. 1, Series of 2021. So, yan yung ating BT eggplant. A dream come true after decades in the waiting. Pero tapos mga kasama, pero hindi lang natatapos yan. Sabi ko nga sa inyo, isa pang napakahalagang produkto ay ang BT cotton. At ito ipapaliwanag ni Dr. Rinyan mamaya. Ano ba mga kasama, napakahalagang teknolohiya ang genetic modification, ang GM technology, napakahalaga. Pero ano ba ang global experience sa genetic modification? Alam nyo, compared sa ibang high-tech product development, napakamabusisi, time-consuming ang pagpapadala sa merkado ng genetic modification in plant and plant products. Tignan nyo, this one, pinapakita halimbawa yung Xbox, yung sikat na mga millennial na ginagamit. It's on average 3 years from product concept to the market na introduced. Ito namang ketchup, yung mga bagong brands, it's 3 years. Yung bagong kotse, again, from the concept to the market rollout, it's 3 years on the average. Yung Boeing 787, 8.5 years. Yung pharmaceutical medicine, wala pa to yung RNA technology, yung gene editing technology. It's 12 years on the average. Pero mga kasama, ang GM crop and plant and GM plant and plant products on the average, it's 13 years. So something's got to give. Napakatagal ho nito. Hindi lang yon, yung gastos napakalaki. Halimbawa sa Philippine case, paliwanag nito ni Gab, ni Dr. Romero, it took us 7, although this is already fully developed nung introduced sa Philippines, dumaan pa rin siya dumaan pa rin ito sa greenhouse, confined trial, tapos field trial, bago ito na commercialize. At ayon sa pag-aaral, umabot ito ng, during that time, this is under 2004 values. Magkano? Para lang i-develop sa Philippines, Philippines ito, hindi kasama sa US. Umabot ng 130 million pesos. At 2004 values. So kung i-aan natin ito, gagamitin natin 2021 peso values. Aabot ito ng 250 million kung mag-introduce kayo ng GM crop under this genetic modification technology. So sabi nga ho, ay medyo malaki at matagal. Kaya may tinatawag ngayon na may tinatawag na bagong teknolohiya ngayon, yung precision genetic editing or genome editing, or may ginagamit na teknolohiya, yung alam natin CRISPR-Cas9 at iba pa mga kauri nito. So mga kasama, ito ngayon yung wave of the future, yung genome editing or gene editing. Bago ko magpatuloy, gusto ko lang sabihin, ibig sabihin mawawala na ba yung role ng genetic modification? Hindi ho. But they will be introduced side by side. Kung magagamit yung gene editing, di mag-gene editing. Kung kailangan gamitin ng genome editing, genetic modification, di mag-genetic modification. Nasa ano yan? Nasa technology developer, which is the best approach na gagamitin. Pero itong genome editing or gene editing, this is now the new wave. At pinapakita dito sa slide na to na tinan nyo mga kasama, parami ang product na sinusubukan i-develop in the pipeline with market orientation. Sabihin, bala ko ito i-commercialize in the future. So dito pinapakita, pinakamarami ay rice kasi ang daling pag-aralan ng genome ng rice. So rice, tomato, corn, wheat, potato, soybean, plus other important crops. At ano yung mga traits sila? Agronomic value, food and feed quality, stress tolerance, herbicide tolerance, at iba pa. At iba't ibang bansa ito. Ngayon, nangunguna ang China, tumusunod ang US, Japan, di ba? Germany and France. At mga kasama, hindi nakalagay dito, pero ang isa sa una na nakapag-commercialize. So, ang dalawang bansa nakapag-commercialize na ng gene-edited crop ay ang US at ang Japan. Diba? Yung GABA tomato ng Japan. So, ito na yung wave in the future. Kaya, it makes sense na ang ating product in the pipeline for biotech ay gene-edited. At ito ay hiniram ko kay Gab, itong slide na to. Ano yung mga dinidevelop na gene-edited crops in the Philippines? At tatlong mahalagang institusyon. Yung dalawa rito ay Pinoy na Pinoy. Pero tatlong ito ay nakabase sa Pilipinas. Ang IPB ng UP Los Baños, ang IRI na nakabase sa Los Baños, at ang PhilRice na nakabase sa Muñoz, Nueva Ecija. So ito yung kanilang mga dinidevelop. At may na lamang mga kasama, ito yung halimbawa sa IPB, ang project leader dito ay si Dr. Ni Laurena. At ito, yung kanila, this is basically proof of concept muna. Para lang makita na kaya natin mga Filipino makisabayan sa ibang bansa. Kasi mahuhusay yung ating mga siyentista. Halimbawa si Ate Ola, si Dr. Aldimita, isa ho siya na sa nagsimula, alam niyo ba, ng genetic modification sa rice sa Pilipinas. Kasama po siya ng nag-training pa yan sa Germany, sa mismong inventor ng golden rice. So kaya ng ating mga Filipino scientists. So ito, ang proof of concept sa gene editing ay ng UP Los Baños ay ginagawa nila sa rice, sa corn at sa tomato. Tapos, mga kasama, sa field rice, meron din ho, dinidevelop na mga gene-edited rice at ang target nila ay laban sa tungro, sa tinatawag na BLB, bacterial leaf blight. Ito yung mga mahalagang peste ng palay. At optimized grain amylose content. And isa pang at yung pangatlong institusyon, mga kasama, ito yung sa IRI. Mas malawak yung kanilang dinidevelop na gene-edited rice. At mahalaga din ito. Meron silang laban sa BLB, bacterial leaf blight, sa tungro, lalo-lalo na't nakadiscover sila ng wild relative ng rice na merong panlabang natural laban sa tungro. Bukod doon, mga kasama, gumagamit din na sila biofortification. Pinapataas nila yung sustansya. Pino-fortify nila yung sustansya ng ordinary rice. Di ba ngayon, meron tayong golden rice? With gene editing, ito naman ngayon, tinatawag nilang HISR. High iron and zinc rice. Nini-develop nila ito with field rice. Increase yield. And finally, mga kasama, ay ni-reduce yung water use. Ni-reduce nila yung water inefficiency sa magitan ng pag-control ng function ng stomata. Ito yung, di ba, yung pagbukas, para yung mga yung mata sa leaves ng mga plants na siya yung namamahala sa bukas sa respiration ng mga halaman. So ito, na-control nila yung yung water retention. So napakaganda through gene editing. And this is my last slide, mga kasama. Kung yung BT eggplant natin, siya yung unang nakatanggap ng permit under the JDC 2021 for commercial propagation. Ito namang high iron and zinc rice ng field rice at IRI, sila yung una nakatanggap ng permit to field test nitong HISR. So we're very happy. Sisimula na yung field trial ng HISR, ng high iron and zinc rice, ng field rice tsaka ng IRI. Pero ang primary proponent ay ang field rice. And we're looking forward na ito po ay matuloy-tuloy ang commercialization para mapakinabangan rin natin mga magsasaka. So maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Sir Abe. We learned a lot from your presentation. So I'd like to announce to the audience that we will be entertaining some questions first for Dr. Manalo right now because he has a prior commitment after this webinar and he won't be able to join us if we go on overtime. So if you have questions, please do post them in the Q&A function. So Sir Abe, we have one question here, and if you'd allow me, I'd like to read it out loud. So according to the Philippine national standards, genetically modified plants was not allowed to use in organic vegetables production. What do you think are the reasons of this? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wiwai, and that's a very good question. Kasi mga kasama, ang organic standards, tama kayo, sa PNS, Philippine National Standards. So nagsabi sila kung anong hindi pwedeng gamitin sa organic. Hindi lang sa vegetable, kundi pati pa sa ibang produktong agricultural ng organic. Ang organic po is a way of production. Hindi ho siya so it's a way of production. At ang sa organic standards, ano yung mga ayaw nila? Because this is a way of production. This is an agricultural way of production. Ayaw nila ng synthetic pesticides, ayaw nila ng synthetic fertilizer, ayaw nila ng genetic modification, at maniwala kayo, ayaw din nila ng industrial-based agriculture. Halimbawa, yung hydroponics, yung paggamit ng water, yung urban agriculture, hydroponics, na ginagamit ito ngayon sa ibang bansa, at ngayon ay nagiging malawak. sa standards ng organic agriculture, pinagbabawal po yung industrial-based agriculture. So, bakit? Because yun ang kanilang identity na ayaw nila ng industrial-based agriculture. Is this something that is based on safety? My contention is hindi. It is a lifestyle. It is a way of it is a way of choice. And sa organic agriculture, if they would like to be certified, kaya ang kanilang certification process is not the end product. It's not the end product, but it in process mula sa paghahanda nyo ng inyong mga inputs, pagtatanim nyo, harvest nyo, pagre-retail nyo, dapat may standard yung organic agriculture at dapat manatili yung kanilang process-based certification sapagkat sabi ko nga, it is a way of agriculture. May identity preservation sila. So, it's not really the end product, it's not the product safety per se, but it's the identity na ginagamit nila because gusto nila yung label na organic. Why?
Thank you, Sir Abe. Now we have another interesting question here. It's from an anonymous attendee. He says, is it true that the anti-GM submitted a writ of kalikasan case in the Supreme Court against BT eggplant and golden rice? How will this affect commercialization of these GM crops, which we badly need?
Salamat ho sa tanong. Yes, October 18 din ho sila nag-submit ng application, ng kanilang petition sa Supreme Court. At ang grupo nito ay ang mga kaibigan natin from Masipag, Fisheries, Greenpeace Southeast Asia, at iba pang mga kilalang personalidad. So, ang kanilang petition ay pinipigil nila ang commercialization ng golden rice at BT eggplant. At ang kanila ritong respondent, gusto nilang tumugon laban sa kanilang petition na sinampas sa Supreme Court ay ang Department of Agriculture, DNR, tsaka DOH. At kasama rito sa respondents nila ay ang Fisheries at ang UP Los Baños. So, sa aking pananaw ho ito, kasi 99 pages yung kanilang writ, yung kanilang petition, napakahabang basahin, pero marami sa amin, nabasa na ho ito, medyo mabigat ang magbasa ng 99 pages na legal document. Sa aking pananaw, kaya ho itong sagutin ng ating mga regulatory agencies at ng technology developers, meaning UP Los Baños tsaka ng Fisheries. Kaya ho nilang sagutin yung mga tanong na pinitisyon ng mga kaibigan natin sa kabilang panig. Sa tingin ko, kaya nilang sagutin to. At sa tingin ko, hindi gaanong manganganib ang patuloy na commercialization ng golden rice at ng BT talong. Why?
Yes, thank you, sir. I agree po. Kayang-kaya po yan and we look forward po talaga sa next steps ng golden rice and BT eggplant. And speaking of BT eggplant, Sir Abe, we have another question here. How will the BT products you mentioned in your presentation, how will they be introduced to the crop raisers and to the market? Do you have any insights on that?
Salamat, Wiwai. So, depende ho yan sa product developer. For example, ang golden rice ngayon, nabanggit yata ni Ronan last time, tinukoy muna nila yung mga probinsya ay yung mga lugar na masyadong mataas yung vitamin A deficiency. Kasi sila yung mas nangangailangan. So ngayon, nagbabulk production sila ng palay ng golden rice doon sa mga lugar na nangangailangan. Ano ba? Samar at iba pang mga lugar. So, sila ang una makikinabang. And then, sa magitan ng rice farmer network ng field rice, doon ho nila susubukan palawigin ang adoption ng golden rice. Kasi kailangan talaga ito ng ating mga mga kababayan. Sa BT eggplant ay ang dati kong narinig ay ganoon din, ang Eupilus Baños ay makikipartner sa mga eggplant seed developers upang sa gayon ay mapalawak po nila ito, lalo-lalo na sa mga lugar na mataas ang rate ng pagtatanim ng eggplant. Halimbawa sa Pangasinan. So yun ho, gagamitin nila yung existing farmer network at seed production network ng eggplant upang sa gayon mapabilis at mas maging successful ang pagdulot nito sa ating mga magsasaka. Paano yung iba? So ganun mga kasama, it will be case by case, depende sa technology developer.
Okay, thank you, Sir Abe. Now for our last two questions for you. I will just combine this into one, okay? The first is, how did our regulators determine that BT eggplant is safe for human consumption? And also, where can the BT eggplant seeds be bought?
Salamat Biway ha. Yung ikalawang tanong, hindi ko masagot sapagkat inaayos pa ho yan ngayon ng grupo ng Eupilus Baños. Yung grupo nila, yung dalawang magigiting ho natin, si Ma'am Des, Dr. Des Autea, saka si Dr. Dec Lourdes Tailo. So inaayos po ng grupo nila yan, hindi ko masagot yan. So at I'm sure in the weeks to come, malalaman ho natin yan paano makakabili ng BT eggplant seeds. Pero yung una, familiar po ako kasi since 2002, so 20 years in the making now, when the Philippines first commercialized Mon 810 BT corn, handa na po tayo sa ating regulation. At alam niyo mga kasama, tulad ng binanggit kanina ni Doc Bong, model ho tayo sa developing country. Stringent, and yet it's working. Hindi to sa ibang bansa, stringent pero hanggang stringent. Tayo it's working. Ang ating regulation it guarantees that it is safe on three aspects. Ano yan? Safe to man, food safety, safe to animals, feed safety, and ligtas sa kapaligiran, environmental safety. At mga kasama, napakarami, totoo po yan ha. Kung meron, malapit na ang Disyembre, meron tayong mga balikbayan boxes na natatanggap sa ating mga kamag-anak. Alam nyo, ganun, I'm not exaggerating. Mga 100 ng balikbayan boxes ang submit ng ating mga aplikante sa Bureau of Plant Industry para lang ho dokumento na patunay na ligtas ito sa tao, sa hayop at sa kapaligiran. At maraming aspeto ho yan. Sa hayop at sa tao, ang ginagamit toxicity, allergenicity, at marami pang iba. Ganun din sa environment, laban sa non-target organism, siguradong hindi ito na masama na non-target organism, walang woodiness potential, at again mga kasama, ang dami-daming mga pag-aaral. So, nakita nyo kanina, it's 13 years. 13 years bago ma-bring to the market ang isang GM product. At yung 13 years, hindi lang ho yan dahil sa dinidevelop yung produkto. Malaking bahagi bakit matagal ay yung regulatory hurdle. At kung napansin nyo kanina, yung ating pie chart, mas malaking bahagi ng cost ay regulatory cost kaysa sa product development cost. So yun, napaka-busisi ho. Kaya nga sa gene editing, sana maiwasan itong mga unfortunately na pinagdaan ng golden rice tsaka ng BT eggplant. BY?
Thank you very much, Sir Abe, and we would like to thank you as well for spending time with us and answering the questions from our audience. And I'm sure we will be seeing more of you during the rest of the activities this month that are related to the National Biotech Week. Okay, so now we will now proceed with the presentation on the BT cotton. May I call again Dr. Edison Rinien, the BT cotton project leader. Sir Ed.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. We can hear you very well.
Okay, thank you, VY, and I'm very sorry for the technical glitch a while ago. This is my first time to encounter that. And hi, Doc Abe, Doc Ola, and our friends at ISAAA and our online participants. Good morning. Congratulations also to the BT Eggplant Group and the Golden Rice Group. Halos magkakasabay lahat ang mga ito, pero of course there are pathways na dapat nating dadaanan bago tayo makakarating sa mga ganyan. And siguro nakakasabik na dapat ang BT Cotton ay naandyan na rin just as BT Eggplants. Ano nang kaya ang mga nangyayari dito? Before I will proceed further, I acknowledge my co-workers, Maggie, Mrs. Damo, who is working on the pest management side of the project, Ms. Vanji Kabigan, working on the genetic side of the project also, and she will be here as one of the panelists, and then Ms. Claire Dakanay on the regulatory side. Okay, this is the BT cotton that we have evaluated in the Philippines. This is different from the other BT cotton that you may have seen in the net. The one introduced by Monsanto, because the BT cotton we evaluated here contains the gene GFM Cry1A. This is a Chinese patent, but then it is acquired by India, and then the varieties that they sent us were evaluated here following our protocol, from the greenhouse to the confined field test to the multi-location field test. Of course, all the varieties containing the GFM Cry1A that we have evaluated are resistant to cotton bollworm, as shown in our previous reports. And it is called the GFM Cry1A because it contains the what they call the BT fusion gene. It is a genetically fully GFM Cry1A is synthesized in the laboratory based on the template of two genes from Bacillus thuringiensis, Cry1AB and Cry1AC. And so it is called, when it is commercialized, as fusion BT. Now, the current status is that all the field trials that are required in our protocol are already completed. Just as Doc Abed said a while ago, from the greenhouse to the limited field trial to the multi-location field trial, they are all completed, and would like to thank DA-Biotech for allowing us to complete all the reports and submit all the reports until the end of this year. And we had already submitted also documents for the biosafety permit for propagation, and we are completing them at BPI and also at FPA. Now, there are activities that are in the pipeline now. Once it is commercialized, actually we are expecting, if it is possible, that when this is released, we will conduct a demo trial in the three islands, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And then next year, in our cotton production areas, we will be planting them in farmers' fields under the cooperatives. About 75% of our cotton production areas will be planted with BT cotton, hopefully. And in that, we'll be monitoring yearly the development of insect resistance. And also, we had already a very loose communication with our technology developer to introgress the BT gene, GFM Cry1A, into our local varieties so that we will not be so much dependent on the developer in the succeeding years. And also, we will be evaluating their varieties with the stock traits like the Roundup Ready trait. Now, let's walk through the events that may happen if we will already commercialize the BT cotton GFM with the event GFM Cry1A. Of course, there are two major things that we are expecting as immediate result, and this immediate result will bring the socio-economic impact that we are expecting. First, of course, if we will be using the BT cotton with GFM Cry1A, we will be expecting more harvestable balls. Most balls will be retained because they are controlled. And if they are controlled, of course, the direct impact is that when there is a higher seed cotton yield and income, there will be impact on our personal, family, and home concerns. More funds to satisfy the personal necessities, family needs, or improvements, mobility, other necessities. Perhaps you may want to see the website of the Barangay Spring in Alabel, South Cotabato. Of course, they haven't yet experienced planting BT cotton, but the traditional cotton, nevertheless, cotton transformed their communities from the personal, family, to the barangay level. And then, when there are more seed cotton yields, because of more ball retentions, there will be more opportunities in the processing and utilization chain. We will need jobs, quality control systems, starting from ginning or separating the seed from the fiber. So we could just imagine a lot of personnel, job creation. In spinning also, we have 3 village model spinning machines in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, and all these facilities will need manpower and a lot of investments. Dyeing, weaving, designing, knitting, fashion also. In fact, one of the investors of cotton, Dr. Conang, had already started display shops in Metro Manila. So these are the things that we will be expecting when we will be using BT cotton. We will be increasing more yield and, of course, more income. And then, look, at the farmers level, there will be more pickers because there will be more balls to be harvested. And if there will be more pickers, of course, there will be more jobs that will be generated. We can just imagine that. But of course, these are positive impacts, and we will also imagine in the Philippine setting, maybe depending on how we see it, a negative impact. For instance, concerns on the quality of labor services. There will be mixture of laborers from those who are capable of doing the job, and then we could employ women. We could just see in the countryside the employment even of children, because cotton picking is relatively light compared to other field operations. And issues on gender and development will be brought out also. Bakit maraming babae ang ipinapasok, and bakit ang mga iba ay hindi pumapasok diyan? There are the gender and development concerns. And also, because there will be more pickers, we need initial capital for harvesting. Kung maliit lang yung farm, pwede yung family equity. Pero kung more than 1 hectare na, we will hire. Pero if we will hire, napakahirap na yung hired labor, especially when we will be paying them immediately per day. So we may resort to the Pacquiao system. So ito yung mga immediate economic impact at the farmers level and at the community level. And then we also have, kung walang pera talaga, you have to resort to the loans. Ang mga farmers natin are members of the cooperatives, and they do not have immediate initial capital. So they really must have to be funded by the cooperative, or you go to the 5-6 scheme. And ito, papasok yung farm mechanization harvesting. Kung medyo mahirap na, kung walang initial capital and we have machines, then there will be ideas on the investment of mechanized harvesting. So mayroon na tayong evaluate na handheld, battery operated, but this may not be enough. We may need combines, and this will give signals to our colleagues at the IFED or to the engineering group to design machines for mechanical harvesting. And then another one is, kung mas maraming bunga ang i-harvest, there will be more jute sacks needed. So we are now, mga communities who are developing or utilizing or manufacturing jute sacks, ito yung opportunities nila to make more jute sacks. Ito yung mga avenues of investments because of the use of BT cotton. Kung mas marami kang ma-harvest, mas marami kang ma-utilize na containers. And then it will also signal our R&D group to develop and utilize jute and other similar fibers for cotton harvesting. So yon ang isa, yung mga socio-economic impacts, you could just imagine that more harvestable. Ito lang because of using BT cotton, more harvestable balls, and dito na ngayon mag-spiral yung many socio-economic developments. And then the second one is itong less use of pesticide against the pest. Kung gagamit tayo ng BT cotton, the control of bollworm is built in. We will not be using bollworm chemicals for bollworm control. Kung meron man, it will just be flushing at before the end of harvesting, or they could be totally eliminated. So mas maliit talaga yung pesticides na magagamit. Kung mas maliit yung pesticides na magagamit, less exposure talaga yan. At ito yung impact na mangyayari, it will be a safety to the farmers and to the family's health. Ganon. Kasi kung less exposure, less illness, less medicine, less hospitalization, so pwede ba nating sabihin more fun? And then also, kung mas maliit yung pesticides na magagamit, less time for bollworm control. As pag-i-spray. Kung ganon, there will be more time for family and community involvement. This includes freedom to go to where our services are needed. Ayan. So, yon ang mga projected socio-economic impacts that we may encounter if we will use BT cotton. We conducted several interviews with community representatives where we will employ BT cotton at iisa yung sinasabi nila. Mas mataas na ani, mas maraming income, of course, dahil lesser exposure to pesticides, safer to our health, and also safer to the environment. So yun lang ang ating masasabi ngayon. I think this is my last slide for the updates on BT cotton. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rinien. And we are now ready to take questions from the audience for the BT Cotton project. We would also like to call on Ms. Evangeline C. Cabigan, Assistant Project Leader of the BT Cotton, to join us during this discussion. So, Sir Ed, you may now stop sharing your screen. The menu should be at the top part of your screen. Okay. So for our audience, please do post your questions using the Q&A function. Now, Sir Ed, I will start with this question for you. Once the BT cotton receives propagation permit, what will be the next steps and what is the timeline before it becomes available to our farmers?
Okay, thank you, Wiwai. Actually, pag nandyan na yung permit, we will start planting immediately. We have actually contacted our technology developers from India, and they had actually reserved seeds for immediate planting in the Philippines. So pag nandyan na yung permit, we will immediately submit for approval the import permit and distribute the seeds to our farmers. This season, the earliest at next April ang latest.
Wow, exciting, sir. Now, can you talk more about the BT cotton technology? So, where were there tests about the impact of BT cotton to non-target organisms, and what were the findings?
Well, we had conducted experiments on non-target organisms, and we found that the response of non-target organisms in our BT cotton is just the same as our non-BT cotton. So just the same, no effect on non-target organisms.
Yes, thank you, sir. Now, do you think if the BT cotton proceeds as planned, do you think this will eliminate the use of pesticides by our farmers?
We hope that for bollworm control, it will eliminate, if not drastically reduce, the use of pesticides against bollworm control. In our studies, from greenhouse to our multi-location test, the bioefficacy of BT cotton that we had evaluated is about over 90%. So this is high enough to kill the bollworm.
Thank you, sir. You mentioned, sir, that there were tests that have been conducted. We'd just like to clarify, sir, where were these tests done in the Philippines? Which provinces po?
They are conducted both in Luzon and in Mindanao. In Luzon, we have in Pangasinan and in Ilocos Norte. And in Mindanao, we have Sarangani and South Cotabato, where
Okay,
the
thank you, sir.
cotton production areas are located.
Thank you, sir. So these are most probably our top areas for cotton production in the Philippines. Sir, may I just ask as well? There is BT cotton in India and China. What is the difference between our BT cotton with theirs?
Actually, there's not so much difference as far as their responses to the cotton bollworm. Both BT cotton controls the bollworm, but then this BT cotton that we had evaluated is a Chinese patent that followed a different mode of transformation. It is called, the event is called GFM Cry1A, or genetically fully modified Cry1A, which is not directly a gene from the Bacillus thuringiensis, but it is synthesized based on the protein template of Cry1A. And then it is reverse engineered into a gene, and then it is introduced into the cotton plant as GFM Cry1A that confers resistance to bollworm.
Thank you, sir. Now we have a specific question from one of our participants. He says, there is a farmers cooperative in Maasim, Sarangani. It is the Santa Cruz Multi-Purpose Cooperative, and that already availed your program. I was a field technician of NDA PL480 project there before. What are the programs, projects, and financial schemes from your office, and how can these crops be availed? Thank you po.
Okay, thank you, Wiwai. Actually, the Santa Cruz Multipurpose Cooperative in Maasim is one of the cooperatives that PhilFeed is supporting in cotton development. In fact, Maasim during this season is the largest cooperative involved in cotton production. And we had actually visited this cooperative already, and they are interested in employing BT cotton. But while they are waiting for BT cotton, they settled themselves in using the 9BT cotton. We have technical assistance provided to cotton farmers in Maasim, and we provide fertilizers, pesticides, seeds, and when BT cotton will be there, we will be assisting them in the earlier years also for the acquisition of the seeds. And then it is, as we are saying in our trainings, it is like a child that needs attention and help at the early years. We will help the cotton farmers until they are weaned and they will stand on their own feet.
Okay, thank you, sir, for that. Now we have one last question from one of our colleagues in Thailand. So he'd like to clarify, what is the growing status of cotton in the Philippines and the amount of cotton fiber needed in the textile industry?
Oh, okay. Thank you from our friends from Thailand. There is a survey that we had conducted nationwide, determining the amount of fibers needed in the Philippines by our weavers. In fact, we can say local loom weavers. These are weavers that use raw materials from cotton or in combination with other fibers like abaca, piña, or silk. And about 10 tons per month is needed actually. But for the large textile mills, of course, you may have noticed that almost all already shut down, and only one is active now in the Philippines, and this is Indophil. And actually, Indophil both all the raw fibers produced by the cooperative that we mentioned a while ago, the Santa Cruz Multipurpose Cooperative in Maasim, Sarangani. We envision to plant BT cotton in all the cotton producing provinces in the country. One in Region 1, that's Ilocos Norte and Pangasinan. And in Sarangani, that would be Alabel. And in South Cotabato, that would be General Santos, Polomolok, Tupi, Tampakan, and then the other areas will be expansion areas later on.
Thank you very much, Sir Ed, for your presentation and for sharing your answers to our audience. We all learned a lot. And now we still have questions in the Q&A function, but unfortunately, we are already running out of time. So maybe our speaker can try and answer them by typing in their answers instead. So for now, I'd like to remind everyone that we will have a post-webinar evaluation form, and the link is now in the chat box. So please click and accomplish the form, and then you will receive your certificate for this webinar automatically. Now, to formally close our webinar, I would like to introduce Dr. Rodora Romero Aldemita, Executive Director of ISAAA Inc. and the Director of the Global Knowledge Center on Crop Biotechnology. She is a member of the Technical Advisory Team of the Applied Biotechnology Committee of the DA-BPO, a board member of the Biotech Coalition of the Philippines, the editor-in-chief of the Philippine Journal of Crop Science, and a scientific reviewer of 6 scientific journals. Prior to joining ISAAA Inc., then ISAAA Southeast Asia Center, she was the Chief Science Research Specialist and the Biotechnology Coordinator at the Philippine Rice Research Institute, where she worked on developing the golden rice, as mentioned by Dr. Manalo earlier. She was also a former researcher at the International Rice Research Institute. Ma'am Ola, please take the stage.
Thank you so much, Wiwai. I'm really amazed on how interesting our topics, especially from webinar 1, and this now is webinar 2. And I'm happy that all of our participants, attendees, have broken records. Now we are about 148 attendees. That shows the interest of our general public, and not only in the Philippines, but also in Southeast Asia. I see a lot of foreign attendees, and this is very good. And we apologize that some of the language that were used during the webinar is our local language, but we will make sure that next time we will speak in pure English. But before that, I'd like to first highlight the fact that the Philippines is really the model country in Southeast Asia. We have started our regulation early on in 1992. We have moved from biotech laboratory guidelines for biosafety. Then we had the commercialization guideline, the food feed importation also from GM. And now we have approved the genome or the gene editing guideline for the Philippines in crops. And we are drafting, or we are almost done with the animal genetic modification guideline. This shows how the Philippines is really cooperating or putting our heads together, especially the scientists and the policymakers, and especially the regulators, in making sure that Pinoy biotechnology and even imported biotech products will come to the Philippines, and that our farmers, consumers, and the general public will be benefited in this with these biotech crops. Now, we are happy that the Department of Agriculture, DA-Biotech Program Office, have supported our project, this Know the Science webinar series, and we would be trying to continue to disseminate the information, not only this year, but also next year. And we would like to invite you also to the National Biotech Week within this month. So I'd like to also highlight that it's not only these 4 products that we are aiming for: GM corn, golden rice, GM cotton, and BT eggplant. These are the one in the forefront, but we also have other biotech crops being produced through gene editing, and Dr. Abi has already explained that to us. Many of our research institutions in the Philippines are gearing up to genome editing technologies for many different crops. And hopefully, with your support, the general public, the consumers, the farmers, the media especially, with your support, we will continue on be the leading country in Asia, and that we can guide them, we can help the other countries in Asia to develop their own regulation and dissemination also of this information. So with that, I'd like to thank all of our panelists. Today's panelists, Dr. Abe Manalo and Dr. Edrin Yen, both are friends of ISAAA, friends of the ABPO, and also the team of ISAAA, the Global Knowledge Center on Biotechnology. And this is led by Tin and the team of Christy, of Clem and Wiwai and EJ. So thank you so much, team. And I'd like to call your attention again to the evaluation form. And as we said during the opening, this will be your ticket to your certificate. So please open or click onto the link so that you can have your opinions. We can have your opinion on what transpired during this webinar.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aldemita, for your motivating remarks. And we'd like to thank all our participants who joined us today. We have a few reminders from the organizers. Please watch out for the various activities related to the 18th National Biotech Week. This year's celebration is titled Responding to the Challenges, Business Opportunities on Biotechnology. The NBW celebration will be held from November 21 to 25, 2022 at the Philippine Trading Center, and is supported by the DTI, DA, DILG, DepEd, DOST, DOH, DENR, and CHED. In relation, we would also like to invite all of you to attend the forum on the Philippine Biotech Regulations to be held on November 21, 2022 from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon Philippine time. The activity intends to present and discuss the current recently approved biotech-related policies, specifically the 2021 JDC and the NCBP Resolution Number 1 Series of 2020. This event will be held at the PTTC and will also be live streamed via Zoom and Facebook. So please scan the QR code you are seeing on your screen to register, or click the registration link posted in the chat box. That's all for today, everyone, and we hope to see you at the National Biotech Week. Goodbye and have a pleasant day.